So we had gotten the email about doing the interview with the dude, right? And the email came across, and Dan didn't know who they were. And I was like, look, we have to do this because I think these little dudes are going to be big in the interview, therefore, will be big. Now, I'll be real with you. I probably would have said we should have done the interview anyway, just on the strength, because we do interviews and we tape them and we hold them because we need to have interviews, right? But in this particular case, the real reason I was like, yo, we got to have these dudes on is I saw them when they were on stage at Last. Now, at Last being the Outkast concerts in Atlanta. Now, you guys may remember that I had told you about when Kid Cudi performed at one of those Outkast shows, and he gave up. He surrendered. He felt like he didn't have any fans there, so he took his happy ass on up out of there, right? Now, I'm not going to pretend like the little No Flake Zone dude need our show, and I'm not going to pretend like Kid Cudi would ever need our show. I will say, though, that the reason that we really had the little fellas on the show was because I had seen them perform and they wrecked it. Like, I knew it wasn't for me. I'm 34 years old. That being said, I knew that they were for somebody from seeing them, and then it goes from there. I say that to say, man, like, you never know who's watching when or what'll happen. Now, these cats, once again, didn't need me for anything necessarily, but there's a reason why we got an email about having them on the show, and it's because they thought having them on the show would do good things for them. And I think if you happen to see that interview, you would have to say, if you didn't know who they were before, you know who they are now, and there's a good chance that you're rooting for them just because they are having such a good time. Such a good time. Like, part of why Be a Dad felt so old is those dudes are having a ball. A ball. Dude, little man made me lose it when he talked about girls. He was like, we ain't got to do all that talking. If that wasn't the realest talk that I had ever heard. Like, that doesn't work out that way for most of us at 20. You got to get a long way down the road. You better get you a good-ass job. I guess you them dudes, you know, I guess they do have good-ass jobs, so maybe they just, like, skip some steps. But, oh, my God, they were just wilding. I don't know what the hell is up with them. Like, I'm a little too old for it. Now, here's something that's funny, though. I'm listening to them talk. Now, you may remember I told you about being at that party where they jumped on the bar and they got everybody kicked out during our battle. Like, that really happened, right? If you saw the interview, you saw them verified. And then later that night, we were trying to go to some party at the Delano, and they weren't letting people in the party. And we tried to get in there with them because I was with somebody who knew them or knew their crew. And we were like, yo, Mike Will and them's getting in, and we can get in with their crew, but their crew didn't get in for whatever reason. I kind of wish now that I had just followed them to wherever they was going next. Like, at that moment, I just took it to the crib. I ain't really got that 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning kind of party in me no more, man. I'm out that. But maybe I should have done it just to see. So, like, I'm curious about the seeing. So, after the interview was done, we talking to them, and I was like, yo, man, next time y'all are in Miami, because they said they wanted Poppy to kick it with them. I don't know if they really mean that, but I'm going to try to make that shit happen. Anyway, they were like, I told them, I was like, look, man, let me get the information to you, man. Next time y'all in Miami, look me up, right? So we sent an email to the guy at the label, and of course, he didn't know about the conversation that we had with the guy. And he replies, and he says, is this something they talked about? Or does Bomani want to be down with the Sremmurd life? Do I want to be what? Like, he wrote that out. Like, it's in the email. He typed that out. The problem is, like, I can't really, like, be terribly offended by this because I do kind of want to kick it with the dudes, right? I don't want to be down with the Sremmurd life. I just want to see what it looks like. Like, if you know anything about the way that I kick it, like, the Sremmurd life is, I am totally not at the Sremmurd life portion of life. I'm not down with the Sremmurd life. Like, I got to be the one to tell you. I'm not, at 34 years old, You realize I'm gonna be 35 in August, right? Like 35. I can't believe that shit neither. I'm about to be 35. I just want to look at the shrimp life. I just want to see what the shrimp life looks like. That's it. This cat asked me if I wanted to be down with the shrimp life, man. I was almost offended. Like, basically, man, I felt like that dude was calling me a dick rider. And that will never be the case. Just so we're all clear. Like, it ain't never gonna be that. It ain't never been that. It ain't about to be that. It ain't that. But what can I say? Dude was passing along my email address and phone number. Like, I can't be so offended that he had reached that conclusion, except for the fact that I am. And I don't care how logical it is or is not. I'm 35 years old. Almost. Like, it's funny. Moments like that, I say I'm 35 years old. I'm going to be fighting to dial back them years so many times. But at times like that, man, I'm 50 years old. But hey, man, good for them dudes, man. Like, I think one of the best parts of it was I talked to Dan afterwards. The Dan said that they are absolutely not for his style of interview, which is part of what made the interview so dope. Because Dan is trying to get into like the depths of your soul, and Dan wants to find out how fucked up it is to be homeless. And they talk about throwing parties in an abandoned house and like getting high and bringing chicks through. Dude, I can't imagine bringing girls through an abandoned house. Like, I didn't really get like all the mechanics of exactly what kind of homelessness it was that they was rocking with, because like I just can't imagine that you can really kick it the way they was talking about with homelessness. Like, I mean, like, I'm sure they had some kind of trick, but where was this electricity coming from that was allowing you to make beats? Like, I don't know. Like, those are questions that, like, in that moment, there just really wasn't time to ask, right? Like, we were like, yo, what was being homeless like? They're like, yo, we was playing beer pong and having girls over and we was kicking it. Like, who am I to stop and parse that? Like, wait a minute, though. How abandoned was the house if you got electricity? Yeah, time and play. Time and play. You know what I mean? But that just completely disarmed Dan. Dan's not, like, qualified for that at all. Dan's trying to figure out some questions. Dan's looking for vulnerability. They're like, we're not talking about vulnerability. We're talking about getting laid. Like, that's where they was at. That is exactly where they was at. I mean, I just can't imagine what it's like. And you guys have to understand, and people who know me will tell you this. I, contrary to what some of you might think, because I do believe that some of you believe me to be a curmudgeon of sorts, but there are very few people as dedicated to having fun within their lives than I am. Now, the reason it may not appear to be that way is that my life is not necessarily very exciting. Like, I don't really like do a lot of exciting stuff anymore. That's just not really, that ain't really where I'm at. I kick it a different way these days, right? But I realized something about 8 years ago, which was that nobody cares how much fun you do or do not have, right? So like when you go to work, you may as well have as much fun at work as you possibly can, because all they care about is whether you actually get the work done. Nobody cares if you have a good time or not. So like if you get me on the grind and when I go to work, I work. But I'm having a good time. I'm dedicated to having a good time. Truly and sincerely dedicated to having a good time. And I cannot fathom how much fun them little no flex zone dudes have. I just can't imagine, like, when they wake up, all the fun that awaits them. I just can't imagine. Every single day. Because clearly somebody has told them, as I say very often about my good buddy Michael Felder, and why Michael Felder is so amazing, is that clearly somebody told him that it was okay to be like that. Right? Somebody told him, little dude, that it was okay to be like that. And they seem to be perfectly aware of how good they got it. And so they are living. I'm not even mad. And you know how I feel about the millennials. So for me to say something about some little high-pitched dudes like that, hey, man, I wish them the best. And if you don't wish them the best, chances are you ain't nothing but a punk-ass hater.